welcome to the Green Hour on WURD at 96.1 FM and also 900 AM on the weekend, sponsored by Celia. I'm your host, Dr. Paul Hopkins. We're here every Sunday from 3 to 4 p.m. You can also find us online at www.wurdradio.com and in the community. My co-host and health advocate, Bill Morgan. Yo, you there?
Yes, sir, buddy.
All
right,
right,
man.
and each week we bring clarity to the conversation about health and environment. We encourage clean living from the inside out. A centerpiece of this is maintaining a healthy lifestyle and getting informed about the connection between good health and what is happening in the world around you. It includes what you consume, what you wear, what products you use on your body, how you clean your home, what you drive, what you purchase, and the decisions you make every day. On the Green Hour, we will focus on the social integrity, and the Green Hour will focus on how the people and the planet are one. Without further ado, welcome, family.
Yep,
I can't get through that, Bill. What's going on?
Hey, Big Mike, he got a tongue all wrapped out
Hey,
there.
Mike Moore in the house. Mike Moore, you there, Mike?
Oh, buddy.
All right. And
Hey,
how you doing today, buddy?
man, I'm doing good. You know, it's nice. It's sunshiny outside in New Jersey. Can you believe it? For a change, I'm not worried about snow shovel again.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful day. A little
Man.
brisk, nice, cool. It's sort of like that cool weather today. So
Yeah.
still a good time to take a little walk today. Get
Right,
out if
yes,
you can.
yes.
Sometimes you got to take the mask off. Hope everyone is still practicing social distancing, but I want you to also be able to, walk around a little bit, y'all. Get some sun.
Yes.
And remember, it's all about, of course, correcting and building the system, but you got to actually have the ability to open those lungs up.
Yeah, man.
Lungs are a big part of this whole process. We talked about the herbs last week, which actually are the inulin, which actually deals with the moisture, things that you have inland, which a lot of the herbs, the mullein, the nettle, all of those herbs that are yarrow, all those expectorant herbs are actually very good for the lungs. So we want to talk about, those things in general. We're going to talk about some of those things moving into the next few weeks, okay?
Right.
But this Big B, I want to go into, and this is going to be a special show today.
Right.
If those that don't know, and Mike, get your hand clasp ready, bro. We
Yes,
are
sir.
celebrating 20 years of holistic health and humanitarian services and the country, man. We have been doing this for 20 years. And from that, I want to bring on today some of those that inspired me to do what I'm doing. And still, for 20 years, we're still keeping it moving. How about that?
That's
And
right,
the programs that stem from the seeds that were planted 20 years ago.
Wow,
So
that's
today,
deep.
bring on some of the brothers that actually inspired me. We want to tell a little bit about the stories because you know what? There's something to be said about the programs that were designed for people of color. A lot of the times the research that is out is not designed for people of color, where we have actually been in the conversation. So we were doing something that was very revolutionary. We had a great team, and I mean from not only team, but partnerships with very much institutions that were all around Philadelphia.
Right,
so
right.
we'll dive into that. But before we get into the show today, I want you, Bill, give us the latest numbers on COVID from our favorite website. And that's our data site that the epidemiologists who actually were pulling data from our, 18-year-old. How about that?
That's right, guy. Hey, man, I wish I had his brains when I was 18 years old.
So go ahead and give them the information.
Hey, Dr. P, you check out my berry, man. Check out my berries, buddy.
Man, you got your Ranch Hope.
I got my Ranch Hope mask on, boy.
Go for it.
Yeah, man. I got to look out for my boys, man. So I got to let them know I'm handling the business just while I'm doing this stuff, right?
Okay.
All right, man. Look, here we go. Let me give you the numbers here real quick, guys. We're looking at, as of maybe 9 minutes ago, the total confirmed. All right, here we go. Total confirmed, 95,206,805. All right, you get that? That number was 95,206,805. Now, the total confirmed, 113,394. All right, total deceased, 2,035,686. So we're looking at a total active rate of 25,212,164. Mike, here we go. Here you go with the drum roll, Big Mike.
All right, Mike, give us a drum roll.
Bam! 67,742,608 total recovered. Yes!
Yes.
Yes! That's what's up. Yes, sir, man. That's what's up.
People, did you say 63 million people recovered from this?
No, man. 67 million, Dr. Paul.
67 million.
67,743,608. God bless, man. You know what? See, that's what it's all about. It's all about.
Greatest system is your immune system.
That's exactly right.
Saying that a lot of, if you look at the COVID numbers, the majority of it are those who are already facing a chronic condition.
Yes.
Already, whether on, medications, hypertension, high blood pressure, issues with blood. Anything that's immune suppressant is going to be causing a problem. But guess what? We have the ability to build the immune system. That is the only system that you have. Matter of fact, nothing's going to work unless it responds from the immune system. If you're going to, even if you're trying to trigger the immune system respond, that depends on the healthiness of your immune system.
There you go, my friend. Exactly.
To affect it, and that's what we're saying. Now you got to build the immune system. So if there's anything you have, which is your greatest resource, family, remember, it's your immune system. There's no compromise. You can't beat the Most High at his own game. How about that?
That's right.
Thank you, Big B. I appreciate you, man.
Always.
What you're actually doing, stay up on those numbers, and we will make sure that we keep on top of that, because you know what? This is a week, with all of the fear-mongering going on. We always talk about how those immune systems are basically stressed because of the stress factor brings the immune system down. So what we want to do is we want to go into saying, people, relax, find your peace, find your zone, start how to relax, get into a state of balance, because when you get stressed out, you're going to send acid into the bloodstream, sends the system into a state of acidosis. So what we want to do is make sure we have the ability to build the immune system, keep it strong. That's vitamin D, the vitamin A. We also talk about the zinc. We also talk about the old Indian wild cherry bark syrup. All these things, not to diagnose, kill, prevent disease, just food for the soul, family. It's all food. How about that?
Yes.
That going on, we just want to keep it in mind. Food is your medicine. Got it?
That's so very true. Dr. Paul, before you get away, man, let's remind them that if they want to make sure they check out themselves these numbers, guys, you can go to ncov219.live. That's ncov219.live, so that even when we're not on the air, you can check it yourself and make sure you know where you are and keep up with what's going on around the world. All right?
And we are streaming live on WURDradio.com. So if you want to see how handsome Bill is.
Hallelujah. Boy, you better stop, man. See that, Mike? We got to hook him, man.
Set him up. I set him up. All right. Okay. Now let's move on into the show, because you know what? This is a hot show, family. This is something that, it is dear to my heart. That, this is probably, I had to reflect on this whole week, because this week we celebrated 20 years. 20 years from a program that I was brought into called the Fulani African American Men's Health Program. And from this Fulani African American Men's Health Program stem many what we call components. And the components that were put together by an incredible team of people that I tell you, it was very revolutionary at the time, and specifically for the time that we needed. I say that it was a staple in the fabric of the human consciousness in the city of Philadelphia, in Germantown, at the right time, because the many people and the lives that were transformed from this program were incredible. We documented everything. And then also moving forward, there are programs that are doing that. So on the line today, I have some of the brothers and that put this thing together, and we together moved on this thing and made it an incredible program. I have Charles Harmon. Everybody knows Charles Harmon.
That's right.
Morning. Charles Harmon, you there?
Is Charlie there? Saying. Oh, yeah. It's odd if I could offer a comment prior to you introducing your other guests. You brought up the foods and stuff that you had talked about. My wife asked me just yesterday. She said she wanted some tea. So I said, okay, I got some good tea. She said, now, is that going to be the good for my body tea or just good flavorful tea? I said, I got some roasted dandelion. I said, that'll really pick you up. Yes, indeed. So that shows you how I still hang in there with all that you offered us.
There you go.
Charlie, this is Charles Harmon on the line. If you don't know who Charles Harmon is from back in the day, it was a WHAT, that was
WHAT, WDAS, and WURD up the street. And I worked there too, yeah.
That's right.
Absolutely. And you did so much for people. Charles Harmon reporting. You was Johnny on the spot, man. And then also I have on the line Dr. John Gross Sr. And Dr. John Gross, you are a pivotal part of everything because you and Charlie have been doing stuff in the community for so long, specifically the male, maturing Africans learning from each other. So welcome to the show also.
Thank you, man.
Yes.
I want to take 2 minutes like Fuss took. Fuss and I have been friends since 1947.
Wow. That's what's up.
Met in West Philadelphia High School
in 1947. Let alone friendships that long.
Wow.
So that's how far we go back.
That's what's up, Dr. Paul.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah, man. That's what's up.
And John, we snuck on the other line. We got Flip on the line also. Flip, you there?
Yes. Okay.
Oh no! That's everybody, y'all.
We got it.
That's a surprise.
Yeah, that is a surprise.
Do I get 2 minutes also, or just a minute? I'm half these guys' age, so do I get a minute? And my opening line is just family, African family. Always remember, you are in a war. You did not declare war, but someone declared war on you 10, 20,000 years ago. So sharpen your sight. Hone your ears. Know what you see and understand what you hear. You have no friends from other persuasions. We must get out of this together.
There you go. Family, brother, family. That's right. Says it all. So I want to start off by saying, number one, it's a pleasure to have all three of you in one perspective at the same time. And I was telling Bill before they came on, I said, Bill, this is going to be one of them shows, man. We're going to go
with it. Did.
But
hey guys, he warned me. Can I say it? He warned me. He said, you better watch him, Bill.
Watch him.
So I want to set up the framework like this because, we met together and I was recruited right into this piece just like, everyone was. Betty Turner over at Center in the Park.
Yes.
Center in the Park was at that point looking for developing new programs and projects for the community at hand, and specifically, servicing people of Germantown and right in Vernon Park. And if you don't know, that's one of the staples of Germantown is Vernon Park. Center in the Park still functioning and doing their thing. Credited senior facility. And at that time, Betty Turner was putting together a grant process, and it was to build those things and to put those components in there. And she put a dynamite team together. She put together, everyone from, yours, which is the Maturing Africans Learning from Each Other, which is the program that you and John were working on. And then from that came the other components. So tell us a little bit about what you were doing when you were recruited for this piece when Betty called you. Yes.
That would be John, because John is really the founder of the program, and Flipper and I came along later.
Mm-hmm. What happened was we grew out of I don't think there is any accidents, but we grew out of some work that I was doing at Lincoln University, and I was teaching courses at that particular time for an hour 45 minutes, stuff like that. I was used to that. But they wanted me to do this workshop for sophomores at Lincoln University, and they wanted me to do a 3-hour workshop. Well, 3 hours was more time than I had ever given to anything in life, and so that I talked to my son, who's on the line now, John Jr., and I said, look, I'm stuck because I can't give a presentation like this. And so he said, well, why don't we do all 4 of us? My oldest son, Joel, and my son, and that's my second son, and David Martin, who is my son-in-law, and I call him my son too at this particular point. But the 4 of us came with our expertise, and we talked about the things that we knew something about. And out of that, and I'll talk later about their specialties when I talk about the Fulani program. But then we moved from there and worked around New Jersey. We had to go away from home to get recognized before we could come back home. And then what happened after we came back, we encouraged, I keep calling him Fuss. You got to correct me because his name is Charles Harmon, but
we call him Fuss, right?
Yeah, so
that's what's up.
We involved him, and the program grew into these different workshops that we presented to African American men. We tried to do that in black churches and other organizations. And we were met finally by senior center programs. But we had a real bad time. I don't want nobody getting mad at me, but we had a hard time getting into black churches. For some reason, they didn't want anything in there talking about an Afrocentric notion. And I just have to say that because I got to get it off my chest.
That's okay. Well, certainly, yeah.
That's all right.
Before I talk about anything else, but we had a tough time with them. A couple of them, we had a real good response in Presbyterian Church.
So John, I've got to take a quick break, but when I come back, we want to go into the component pieces of Fulani, and how even though when we put this together, you were already on the benchmark. We're dealing with a lot of the problems that men dealt with, and specifically how we brought that into the Fulani program. And actually, not only that, but how this program started to really break out into several different components. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. This is Dr. Paul and Bill 1L Morgan. We are the Green Hour, and we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
That's right.
Wayne Avenue Health Food, located at 5007 Wayne Avenue, has been in business for 29 years. Wayne Avenue Health Food is a one-stop shop for all of your quality vitamins, herbs, and information with exceptional, friendly, experienced service. Wayne Avenue Health Food is open 7 days a week and delivers in the Philadelphia area and ships all over the country. For more information, call 267-338-6488.
Pollock Herbs and Vitamin Center, 5925 North Broad Street. 20% off this week. Your special going in MSM Flakes, Old Indian Wild Cherry Bark Syrup, Sea Moss Powder, and all yours, 20% off. But you got to say the key word. I listen to WURD and the Dr. Paul Show, and you got it. Pollock Herbs and Vitamin Center, 215-549-4372. 215-549-4372.
The WURD Radio Newsletter, keeping you informed, engaged, and connected. Sign up by visiting wordradio.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and type your email address under Connect with Us. You'll receive the latest information on WURD Radio, messages from our president and CEO, Sarah Lomax Reese, exclusive articles and multimedia content, and resources. Stay informed with the WURD Radio Newsletter. You're listening to The Green Hour, exclusively on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, Black Talk Media.
And we are back. This is Dr. Paul and Bill 1L Morgan, The Green Hour, and we're talking today about the Fulani African American Men's Health Program, which is the foundation we're all celebrating. Gentlemen, let's celebrate 20 years.
All right, man, that's what's up, Paul. I'm telling you, man.
We've been doing this thing, man, and I'm just saying, what do? We pray and row the boat. Let's keep it moving, right?
That's right, man.
If you are looking online, you're probably looking online. If you're looking online, you can see in back of me, you see there's 3 guys singing in the back. There's one that represents spirit, mind, and body in that order. That was our concept for the Fulani African American Men's Health Program. So, John, I remember, we were tagging around the name for this, and you came up with the Fulani name for us. Tell us a little bit about that.
I came up with Fulani. It grew out of male. John Jr. Named the male program, but the Fulani program came out of some inspiration from Betty Turner that talked about how we could trace our history. Well, I found out through tracing my own history that long story short, the area that I could trace back as far as my people came out of the Fulani tribe in Africa, and Betty, I couldn't trace slavery on my mother's side of the family, and what happened was I found out that an individual. His name was Onque, O-N-Q-U-E, was a slave in Haiti. And he came from, and I traced the route of travel from Haiti to New Jersey. And he got to New Jersey because he was helping his owner escape from the French Revolution. And so when Betty heard all of this, she said, I think we ought to name this program the Fulani program because it's got foundation for us. And I said, well, I'm fine with that. And then from there, we broke it down into several different sessions using the expertise of the guys that were in the program. One of the things that we found out and learned to live with is that we've got a lot of expertise, but we don't think we have it because the dominant culture don't tell us that we do. And so that we worked with what we had. We had John Gross Jr. talked about holistic health, which was something that was 20 years ago was not that popular. And Joel Gross talked about his relationship with the street because he had a lot of involvement in the street and problems in the street, but he was able to talk about that. David Martin was my son-in-law was a professional football player, and he talked about black African-American men and sports all the way up to from the neighborhood all the way up to the professional ranks and the things that happen in there. We had Bob Perkins talk about the history of jazz.
And that's Bob Perkins, that famous Bob Perkins that's on the Walk of Fame right now, right?
That's right.
Downtown, right?
WRDI.
Yeah, we had some bad news in that outfit. And, of course, Charlie Harmon brought us the political piece from WDAS, where he had been involved for quite some time. So, but all of these individuals had experience in the street. They were all connected to people who were involved in their communities and attempted to try to make change and bolster African-American men and boys.
Yes. And, also, and Charlie, you remember Cody was also a part of that, too. Cody Anderson.
That's right, yeah. Cody brought in his expertise. Yeah, we've always had people come in and offer their assessment of what's going on as to relating it to what had happened before. Even I think Reverend Joe took part in a couple of sessions.
Yes, Reverend Joe.
Reverend Joe.
Reverend Joe was the he was our chaplain. Yes.
And when in your intro, Paul, you talked about dealing with COVID disease now. But if you remember correctly, we were in session during the HIV AIDS epidemic. In fact, we had a couple of guys attend who were AIDS victims.
Yes.
And we had quite an eye-opening session when them guys came, especially during the fact that they were accepted without any reservations in the program.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And the very much the components that I have a layout of the components. I actually found one of the flyers, the original flyers.
Yeah, man.
From the program. I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you both. But one of the programs, in the program, the first thing was health and wellness. So we talked about how, in collaboration, we were with Einstein Health Network, remember? Right. And also, I believe it was also University of Penn. I think we were with them. And also Senator Park. So we had a lot of good cooperation. And, of course, it was backed by GlaxoSmithKline, remember? So it was a lot. Einstein Northern, yes, absolutely. So it was a lot of people that were interested in, what we were doing, because they were saying, wait a minute, y'all got something on here. Y'all doing something. But you know what? There was something that you both taught me. All three of you. You taught me something, because I was the young man who was from that pharmaceutical world. I was from that pharmaceutical research world, and I was stuck. I can literally tell you I was stuck. I was coming out, and those that know, I worked at SmithKline Pharmaceuticals back when it was back right on 15th and Spring Garden Street. I was recruited right out of high school at the age of 14 years old. So I'm working there, and I came out of that, but I was stuck because the things that I saw, I said, I don't agree with this, because it's not specifically designed for us. And I saw the people that it was affecting were people of color. So I said, I'm so stuck with my challenge here, because I got all this research behind me. I knew how to research and do data and R&D and all that stuff, but I was stuck. I said, I see sick people, and I don't know why we're still seeing this. And that's when Flip happened to one of the sessions, brought this brother in. He tells me, I remember the day, Flip.
Brother Africa.
He says to me, yo, man, we're going to do the session, but I got to run to the airport to get this guy, and you might have heard his name is Dr. Africa. And I said, okay. So he says, well, I'm coming in smoking late, though, but we're going to get there. Right? So he came in, and we had a full house that day of men. And I remember when you brought him in, the entire vibration and energy of the whole room just changed, man. And then I can tell you that was when my life changed, because that was the epiphany. I call it the epiphany moment.
Well, that's what it is.
That exactly what happened when things made all the sense in the world to me. That when Doc came in, he says, this is what you've been seeing, but here's the truth right here. And I can tell you right now, Flip, you changed my life, man. And for the many people that don't know, tell me about that just real quick. Chime in with your relationship with Dr. Africa.
Yes, Doctor. Thank you, Paul. And peace and blessings for a few people be upon their spirit forever. Tim Morrow was the one that actually grabbed me out of the Impulse nightclub and let me know that I had to do something about my health. And then came Dr. Africa. So once I started studying under Tim, it was a mixed grouping. Dr. Africa said, no, African people are different, and you must study different, and you must study more. And we stayed with Dr. Africa. That's when I brought him to you. I was still a student of his at that time, and his basis was similar to Jewel Pookrum and Dr. Stady. The fact that we are melanated people from a warmer climate means that when we deal with health, that has to be considered, and we need different minerals and herbs, different foods, and certain things are more deadly to us than they are to Europeans. And one of the primary understandings from them was that African people with the melanin, our makeup is much like a screen. So it's cross-woven.
Yes.
And when anything gets in there that is of detriment, it takes a much longer time. And I'll give you an example. Theirs is more like a pole fence, if you will. And so things can run through there much, much quicker. And consequently, when we started dealing with recovery, African people had a much harder time and a longer time with recovery. 30 days was okay for Europeans. 30 days is not adequate for Africans to get that out of their melanated system. So they were our guides, and Dr. Africa was just a wonderful, wonderful friend. He made transition not too long ago. Tim made transition not too long ago. And if it wasn't for these guys, I would have been sick and in the hospital. Sister Pukram is still with us, still teaching, and everybody should spend time with her when you can. And it was just, and then came Dr. Sabi, who taught us the difference between hybrid and non-hybrid food.
There you go. There you go.
Spend some quality time with the teachings of Dr. Sabi. Peace and blessings be upon him as well. And so the system took these guys out, as far as I'm concerned. That's a personal opinion. So we have to be careful. We must understand what we're doing. That quote was from that brother Middleton in the 70s came up with the quote about sharpening your eyes and honing your ears. And so we are at war behind enemy lines. And for some reason, that seems to be a concept that is hard to grasp for Africans in the diaspora. We really think that somehow we're going to find enough good people of another persuasion to aid and assist us. And they've been killing us for 4,000 years in a myriad of ways, and we just don't understand that that's their modus operandi, and you must defend yourself. So that's where, that's how I was taught and indoctrinated, and I owe my life to those brothers and sisters that come of that ilk. Right now, there's a ton of other young people doing it with live foods and yoga and different things, but you must understand that the Creator didn't need any drugs, and the Creator didn't need any inoculations to keep the human family existing for hundreds of thousands of years. So
exactly, and you remember, and you absolutely, everything you're saying is right where Dr. Africa and all of the Sabi and everyone has always been saying, food is your life. And if it depends on your immune system developing, you have to improve the immune system. Only life begets life. That's in every scriptural book. So if you put dead in your body, you're going to get dead. That's it. So yes. And so peace be upon, Dr. Africa. And, he did transition this year. We always want to send our prayers out to Melanie, who's his wife, for all that she's done when she traveled with him, so, we want to remember and keep that information going. John, I got a question for you. Dr. John Gross, Sr., that is. Okay. Remember when we started doing this thing and you said something, I can remember sort of pivotal points where things started to pull out that I said, wow, that was powerful. One powerful thing was, I remember sitting when we had a meeting, sitting with those that were in the position of understanding how we do our research. And you and Charlie said something. You said, you can't tell us how to do our research, meaning that we have to be the gatekeepers of our own information. And that was powerful.
Amen.
That was powerful, brother.
Amen.
Tell us a little bit about that.
They come in and research us, get all the information, and then they go back and make all of the money, and we don't advance a bit. And it's still going on.
You know, to piggyback on that, I'm constantly get calls from Franklin and Marshall College on research. And of course, I haven't gotten as much as I used to before because I said, wait a minute, all these questions you're asking me, they're not going. They're going in the directions that you want to go in. I got directions I want to go in, and I said I can't answer what you said. I'm going to answer it in my terms. And I think we need to do that with researchers. Anybody that calls, and anybody that's listening now, that if a researcher calls you and they're not going in your direction, you got to stop and say, hey, we need to go in another direction.
Guys, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
You know, some things sort of get to me because I've gone through something when I was in the Army in regard to vaccines and things of that nature. But when I take a look at some of the things that are happening today, a lot of the considering the fact that we are the original people on the earth, okay? Let's just go there as a set of parameter. Now, when a lot of the research that's being done today is being done on those who don't look like us. So in other words, they're trying to affect the research done from people that don't look like us and then re-engineer it to fit us. And it's not working.
It's never worked. Yeah, it's never worked. That's
so
right.
With that being said, then how do those who are on the outside, who are looking to try and ferret out what the information is, whether it's real or not, whether I should or should not do this, how do we help us?
Well, what I do is when they tell me when I go to Rite Aid or wherever, and they say, you got your flu vaccine, I said, the last flu vaccine I had was in the post office was giving it at 30th and Chestnut Street, and that was back in 1958. And I got sick as I could get, and I have not gotten a flu shot since. That's what I tell them.
And Charlie, tell them how old you and John are.
I'm glad you mentioned that. If I can put an addendum on that, I will. If I live to May 28th, I'll be 90 years old.
Shut the front door.
The reason why I'm so old,
boy, you better get off my phone. Shut the front door. That's what's
Flipper
up.
And Flipper and Dr. Paul came along, and if I have a problem, I got one of them little copy books. I have it full of pages, and if I have a problem, I go through the pages of some of Paul's remedies, and I go there and I grab that, and that's what I work with. I go to a doctor, a gerontological doctor down at the University of Penn, and he said, Mr. Harmon, he said, you are doing well. I don't take any medicine, none at all. I got a drawer full of herbs, and he said, I would not recommend you come back to me unless you got a problem. And I did go to the doctor about a month ago. I got a knee problem, but other than that, he said, you don't even have to worry anymore. I go to the VA doctor. The VA doctor, she said, I can recommend niacin for you to add on to your herb list. But other than that, nobody wants me back anymore because I'm doing fine.
Hey, Paul.
Yes.
I want to say this. Fuss is my elder.
Well,
by 6 months.
I look up to him because he is older than me.
6 months.
Very few people are walking the terra firma that are older than me. And he's one of them.
He's one of them. Right. Now listen, John, I gotta take a quick break, but we're gonna come back because this conversation is getting heavy, y'all. We got a few more minutes to go into, but we got to take a quick break. This is Dr. Paul, Holistic Health, and Bill 1L Morgan on the green. Hey. Right back.
Just one more step. You got it.
You're doing great. This is the sound of a nationally ranked top rehabilitation hospital, home to the largest collection of robotics in the United States, where we continually exceed patient expectations. Because no injury is too severe or too minor for our care.
There you go.
This is the sound of success. Moss Rehab. Challenge accepted.
Hi, this is retired Judge Thomasine Tynes, inviting you to tune in this Sunday at 4 p.m. with the Judge and Jetty Show with attorney Jetty Newkirk. Learn about a lot of things you may just not know.
Announcing the Black Words Book Club, Word Radio's new monthly conversation on books that explore the African American experience through social, economic, and environmental justice issues. Tune in the second Tuesday of every month on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. The next book for February is Long Time Coming, Reckoning with Race in America by Michael Eric Dyson, a New York Times bestseller that traces the roots of racism from slavery and Jim Crow to police brutality. Be sure to listen live as Nick Taliaferro will hold a contest for a giveaway book bundle that consists of 4 titles from Kensington's Defina's Authors of Color's newest release. Don't miss it, February 9th on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Attention for Word members. Get your copy and receive a 20% discount when you purchase at Harriet's Bookstore or Hakeem's Bookstore. For more information on the Black Words Book Club, visit wordradio.com. The Black Words Book Club is sponsored by Defina. Defina is an imprint of Kensington Publishing Corporation, America's independent publisher, concentrating on authors of color. You're listening to The Green Hour, exclusively on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, Black Talk Media.
And we're back. This is Dr. Paul with Bill 1L Morgan, and this is The Green Hour, and we are talking today to some of the founders of the 20-year anniversary of the Fulani African American Men's Health Program. And from that, the younglings of that is me. And we're speaking off to do this thing, and we're keeping it going because I come from strong roots, and these are some of the roots today. And that's Dr. John Gross Sr., we got Charles Harmon, and we got John Gross Jr. We all call Flip. Flip up. So, with all this that comes into mind, I think about all of that, when we had also some other pivotal people with Temple cooperations. We had Thad Mathis, and we also had Dr. Richard Cooper came in and did his thing on hip hop. These things actually, what was Dr. Richard Cooper's one was from? I think it was from the Slave Ship to Hip Hop. What was it? There was I can't remember the name of that particular presentation, but it was a powerful piece. Yeah, it was called, and it really had us to really bring them in, because the process of the program was we had health and wellness, then maturing Africans from learning from each other, and then we did an intergenerational mentoring piece. So that means when the men went through a program, they went through a whole training with us, which was about 6 weeks, and then from that, they graduated with a certificate. You remember we gave out the first certificates of the graduating class?
There was guys in that program that said they had never had a certificate for anything that they've done.
Wow.
And we put them in nice frames, and they were happy as they could be.
We had a nice meal, nutritious meal.
Yes, we had
a nice ceremony.
Yes, we did. And from that also, we had a lot of cooperation, with, I remember one we had called Dining with the Docs. You remember that one?
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
And, the story goes that here we are trying to bridge the gap between doctors, and we had a big layout of food. You remember that, y'all? We had the big layout of food, and the guys wrote letters to their doctor, right? And the guys that wrote out to their doctors, 6 months early, right? Remember, it was about 6 months early. They wrote out to the doctor, meet me, I want to talk about our health concerns, and we're going to have dinner for you and everything. And guess how many showed up? You remember how many showed up?
I think it was one, wasn't it?
One doctor showed up.
And that was Johnny Gross's good friend. Jerry Johnson.
Yeah, it was just one doctor.
It was the only one.
And it was...
Yeah, that was Jerry Johnson.
Right.
Yep. So it was just showing our struggles that we had with this program, but also it sort of outlined and highlighted our disparities in our community also, where people can't seem to talk to their doctor, and that there was always some form of line that was saying that you just do what I tell you to do and not ask questions. And that's where we have to start to get past that, because everything is not for everybody. And just like we were saying, research.
I have to interrupt you for a second, Paul, because you taught us how to really breathe. When the doctor tells you to breathe, you breathe with your stomach out. You were saying to suck it in and breathe with your diaphragm.
That's right.
And my wife told me one time, the doctor asked me to breathe, she said, go on, show him how you breathe. You know, I mean, because all these things, you know, we thought this was how you do it, but it's not. And Paul was on target with, and I think the doctor was so impressed that you know, with the way we carried ourselves. Just too much. And I think that was probably why my doctor at that time, it was a different doctor, and he actually left the field and went to Harrisburg. I don't know what he did, but when he called me in, I was giving him more information than he gave me. Now the doctor that I go to when I do go, he looks he's an Asian doctor, and he looks on a computer when I tell him what I'm taking, and he says, oh wow, and I think it's enlightening him.
Paul, if I can interrupt here before we go, I want to let's give the names of the individuals who were the workshop leaders in our program at Fulani.
Absolutely.
You got time for that?
Yeah, absolutely.
The introductions and libations and our Afrocentric perspective was done by myself, Charles Harmon, and John Gross Jr. African American men and politics was Charles Harmon. African American men and holistic health issues was John Gross Jr., as you just testified. African American men and the street was Cloyd Gross Sr., who has made transition, God rest his soul, and Joel Gross Sr.
Yeah.
The African American spirituality was done by Reverend Joseph Williams.
Yes.
African American men in the media, of course, was done by our beloved Charles Harmon. And the African American male and female relationships was myself. And the African American males and athletics was David Martin. And so that we had a real strong component of individuals. And like you say, man, we've been at it in some form or fashion for 20 years.
Wow.
We're old and tired now, but
don't you start.
We've got guys on the battlefield like John Gross Jr. and Paul Hopkins who are still testifying to the strengths of African American men and things that will keep them stronger and go forward. That's the end of my.
But John, let me add a little something on that.
Sure.
That some people might get when we would go to centers to present, we would ask for a separate room for the men. And in one place where Betty Turner was in charge was up in North Philadelphia,
Clara Baldwin Center.
Baldwin Center, yeah. And so we had to put walls up in a stationary wall, not stationary, movable walls to center our place. And one woman said, how come you pulling the men off? So I said, well, we feel that as though if when men get intimidated by women, if we had men and women in our sessions, the men would cow down because the women would take charge and the men would just sit back and let them do it. And so one woman said, she said, you can put them walls up as much as you want, but we're listening, and when you can brainwash them, but we're going to unbrainwash them when they come out.
Hey, I'm glad you said that because Betty is listening right now. She said, hello, Fulani team. So y'all just keep on talking. She's checking y'all out, boy.
That was smooth. I was going to say to the family, I was trying to get Betty on the horn. Her, Betty Turner was the yes, Betty Turner. We send it out to you, Betty. We love you. Get well.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Very instrumental. Yes.
Happy 20th anniversary to you also, because you were the connect with this. And you know what? Even after we moved forward from the Fulani program, Betty kept it going. You know, we had several programs. Here's some of the programs. I just wrote down a few off the top of my head. We were in one, of course, I did Fighting Hypertension. There was one called Moving and Grooving. There was one called In Touch, which we dealt with mental, the effects of mental issues in our community. Also, Harvest Health, which was one of the biggest ones. That's the one I went and presented to Congress down in Washington, D.C. After we were so successful, we won an award for that whole piece. So Harvest Health was another one. And then, of course, from that came Men's Gathering. And then from Men's Gathering, here we are, Natural Woman. Here we got the Natural Woman. So these programs are still going to this day. You know, I doing the best I could, but we continue. The components came from what we started with Fulani. And just to clean it up, we didn't say it was just for men in that component where we wouldn't let them in, but it was the evidence base that showed that men just would not speak their mind properly and clearly when women were in the room. So it was an evidence-based program format that y'all brought to the table, but we also carried that over to the women, because when we have class, the same thing, man. If I have a natural women's class and a man show up, they're gonna stare him right out the door.
Yeah,
right out the door. Any man that knows they ever been to the natural woman class, they say, Doc, you the only one in here. The rest of them, they got to get up out there.
Is Betty on the line?
No, she's not on the line.
She's not on the line.
But
they let me come and stand up for 5 minutes one time, and then I had to win too.
Yeah, and I know we got about. Mike just gave me and said that we have 5 minutes remaining.
Wow.
Right. Tell Betty we said thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Betty was a strong woman standing up against all those men.
Yes. People will not know what she went through.
You got that right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. She had to do with also the administration issues that were involved.
Oh, yeah.
I call her the mayor of Germantown. I really do.
She was at one time.
She was heaven and earth for her people, man. I mean, she's still doing it to this very day. So, Betty, we love you. But listen, last words from you guys. Really, I just want to go down the line. Just give me your last words. Anyone can start. Just last words real quickly, because we got 5 minutes left, okay?
I'm the youngest, and I'll be the shortest. One of our opening sayings was, you are responsible for and in complete control of your good health. We can do it. We don't need no help.
That's right. There you go. Well said, Flip. Well said. Charlie?
My only comment is that I'm so thankful to you, Paul, and to you, Flipper, because with your guidance, you led me through to a life that, like I say, I'll be 90 in May. I have taken no medicine at all because of the guidance of Paul Hopkins and John Gross, the third. And I got one of the manuscripts of notes that I took that on the meetings, and if I have any problem, I go to the note. And when people come to me, say, "What do you do? What do you do?" I offer them what you gave me, Paul. And one thing I forgot to mention during our conversation, one time Jackie Robinson's daughter came because they were interested in our program, and we explained things to them and their foundation too. John?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just thankful for everything, the guys, and thanks for having us on, Paul.
Yes.
One thing about the 20 years, it went so fast till I couldn't. Yeah, I imagine it was 20 years ago until you told me over the phone. But thank you for all that you've done for us. Thank you for the Creator giving us the opportunity to serve younger people, and we got to keep on going. Nobody is going to save us but us. And I'm convinced of that the more I go.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Paul.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. I want to give everyone a hand. Let's give them a hand, Mike.
Big up, big whoop, let's what's up. Betty says she loves y'all too now.
All right now.
celebrating 20 years of doing holistic health and humanitarianism in our community, and we applaud you all. You know, we all should celebrate because this is continuing to go, and what we're doing here right on WURD, Black Talk Media Radio, talking about holistic health and how, you know, the greatest asset you have is your immune system. Build your system, spirit, mind, and body in that order. That was our motto. Remember that, y'all?
Yes.
Right. I want to thank you all so much for chiming in, and I hope you got something out of this show today. You know, if you want to find out more information about that, give me a call, and that's Dr. Paul at 1-877-377-2854. That's 1-877-377-2854. We'll tell you more about the program, you know, but also if you want an assessment one-on-one with me, sit down. We have that RM3A still going, y'all, and from that RM3A, you can get the works. We call it the works because you come in, we get from the Rudy to the Tootie Bill. So,
wow.
So what we want to say is give us a call, 215 also 779-7355. That's 215-779-7355. You can also dial in www.drpaulherbs.com, but you can also see this show on Facebook where you can get a rebroadcast if you want to send it to somebody. We want to thank our producers, Michael Ledbetter, Laura Lomax, and President CEO Sarah Lomax Reese. Hey, Miss Beverly, we love you. And all those that are being able to allow us to be here today to give you this information. Bill 1L Morgan, I tell you, man.
It flies, doesn't it?
Thank you.
Yes,
and
sir.
also Mike Moore, our producer on the scene back there, making everything happen for us. We appreciate you, brother.
Yes, indeed, Big Mike.
Say be encouraged. And remember, if you're breathing, you got a shot.
There you go.